What's up? It's your boy Carcino, man. And a lot of people have asked me about Jay-Z and Beyonce, when 444 was out. And I just never got around to answer your question because I've been busy, talking about other things. But we'll answer your question. Why Beyonce didn't leave Jay-Z? That was your biggest concern or question that you had for me at the time. And you got to look at the scenario. Why would she leave Jay Z? You got to understand the type of person Beyonce is. You see her as Sasha Fierce. She had to create that alter ego to push herself because she don't naturally have it in her to push herself, especially at that time. Y'all got to realize that Beyonce was like 19 years old and her father had Destiny's Child. The group never really her as an independent artist. He was thinking you need more of the group and keeping her more as his little daddy's little girl. And they still have a contract for one more Destiny's Child album. A lot of people don't know that, but they do. They have another contract on the table. Well, they already signed and they're contracted for one more Destiny's Child album. And of course, they were looking at we need to do this album. This is a no brainer. We need to finish and complete our contract and get this done. So, Pops, Matthew, wants to get this, accomplished. And the fact that they were keeping the face of him being the good dad and all this stuff, while the mom and them knew that, they were actually separated. But for the face of the group, they wanted to keep everything the way it was. Like he's the face of the company, and this is what we want to do. Like he's the father, the wife, and mother. So she would have to make appearances and be around this person. But Beyonce knew that there was friction. So she was always very insecure, timid. But when she's on stage, she becomes a whole different person. But in reality, she was always kind of withdrawn. She was semi-bullied in school by girls who were jealous of her. So this kind of behavior kept transpiring throughout and spiraling to the point it made it easier for Jay to come in and put his claws in and get what he wanted out of the situation. Now, here's where Jay comes in. Jay is responsible for everything Beyonce has right now, for what that name became. He's very responsible. So, all y'all can attribute to a lot of things to just Beyonce, but don't ever forget what Jay did. Jay gave her the confidence to not just go solo, but that she was going to be successful. Jay stood his ground, stood up with the family, and this is like in the initial years of their dating. Jay told her, "You could be a solo artist." Period. He basically produced that whole first album. Crazy in Love, her first single, is a Jay-Z type record. Hi hat crazy. Dun, 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 dun. It's all Jay-Z. Jay-Z held her hand through that entire first album. He took a lot of weight off her by putting himself out there. And once Jay attached himself to it, he's like, it can't flop because I'm already hot. This project is going to take off. See, people don't realize that back then, people were like, Jay, don't trust Beyonce. Like, she going to get half your money. You went with that Destiny's Child girl. She going to get you for your money, Jay. People looking at it that way. And I'm like, this is the best thing for Jay if it does happen. Because this is somebody who you knew didn't really whore around the industry. How rare is that? Plus, this is something he built as far as her confidence. He built her into having this confidence to be independent, to do these things, and she trusted in him. And when she saw her career going in a certain direction, Matthew was still trying to hold her back, her dad. She made a decision to fire her father and put Jay-Z in control. That was the biggest step she ever had to make. And it ended up being tremendous for her career. And once they became a brand, they were able to sell themselves as a brand. When people didn't want Jay-Z no more and he was finna fade out and he was gone and he flopped with that album he put out when him and Beyonce was broken up, but didn't really tell the public, but they weren't really dealing with each other at the time when he was making that album. They were kind of apart. And they took their little break from each other. He was in a spiral, tailwind, where he was going to dwindle down to nothing. He got back with her, and they were able to sell themselves as a package. Like they're a power couple. And once they were able to sell that, and Jay changed up his image, people were able to gravitate and sell Jay-Z to the public. And now, look at where they are now. Each one, it's not like one person has this amount of money and the other person has this amount. They both equally, they're almost a 50-50 type deal where she is worth about 400 million. He's worth about 500 million. So they are a $1 billion couple. That was a very smart play. It was a risky one, but one hand washed the other, and it worked. When she didn't have the confidence to strike out, she would have still been doing Destiny's Child albums and would have faded out, listening to Matthew, went independent or went solo too late, and ruined her chance. And then you look at it, you'll see how far they've come. That's if you look at it. So as a team, everyone says, well, she should have left Jay. Well, it's a little easier said than done, don't you think? When you got that much history with a person, you're going to turn around and say, oh, you should have left. You should have got your stuff and just left. How you gonna leave somebody to help you make $300 million? I don't care how many Beckys with the good hair came back. I got $300 million. But I understand because now things have changed. She don't really need Jay-Z. Like, like I don't really need him. She could have really cut him loose and went and got her somebody else. But I think for her own psyche and somebody being with somebody that knows you versus starting over with somebody you don't know and they don't know you is a very difficult step. And that's why you see a lot of women stay with people. They be like, girl, why don't you leave? She's very like, look, I know this guy. He know me. I ain't ready to start over. And they rather just deal with the faults that that person have, and hopefully they care enough at some point that they change. But I think she's getting to the point where a woman always has a boundary where it's not what you did, it's just for how long it's been going on. It's an accumulation factor. And they're reaching a point where the accumulation of the things that were going on, it just starts to wear on somebody. So I just can't put up with it no more. Then you've reached that impasse to where change has to happen, or you need to find a new chick because that's that's about all I can tell you there. Because women get to that point where it's just like you're not gonna change, and I'm a fool. I don't know why I'm wasting my good years doing this. You know, yeah, I don't know what you want. They get to that point where they just give up. So I'm quite sure Jay's got the message now because now he's like, look, what am I risking all this for? And people be like, man, I got your other questions too. Don't worry, I'm gonna get all of them out. Man, but Beyonce fine. What in the world he messing with these other bras for? That Rachel Ray chick, she look busted. That's what y'all kept telling me, right? Okay, let's go down that one. When men cheat on women, do they cheat with chicks that's normally hotter than their wife or just almost below average? And I'm not talking about celebrities. I'm talking about in general, period. And even with celebrities, you see they got a super hot model wife, body like bam, and they still go cheat. And you be like, wow, what happened? Because a lot of you attribute everything to just sex and how sexy someone is. And I told you, this was a phrase that was told to me a long time ago. When somebody said, show me a girl who you think is the finest chick ever. And you tell me who you think is the finest chick ever right now. And I'll show you the guy that's tired of screwing. Every guy get tired of something. That's just the way it is. They just get tired of being with that person. No matter how beautiful, how gorgeous you think they are, that fades. And I'm like, wow. So you can't look at it that way. Guys always like to chase. You got those guys that always like to chase. I mean, that's the fun part. The initial getting the girl, that's the funnest part in the world. You're getting to know somebody, you knowing a lot about them, you guys are sharing information back and forth. And that's the fun thing. The sad part is when you reach the pinnacle where you guys are like at an impasse where this is as much as we're gonna get here, then this is just dull now. We don't even talk anymore. We're just walking past each other. but you're stuck because you're married. So it's like you can't go nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. So now you just give up on life, doing stuff, taking a vacation. All that's just dead. So when people go and cheat or somebody look at them with interest, men get excited. It's like, yes, she seen me. That's how the attitude normally travels back and forth like an energy. So if you're saying, why would he settle for somebody like Rachel Roy? She probably was just there, idolizing him, doing whatever he wanted to do, if that's the one he was with. Then you're looking at other scenarios with other chicks or whatever you want to call them. These chicks are probably wannabe singers, no attachment to him. He probably didn't really even care about him. It was just sexual gratification. He has a wife that travels and works, and sometimes they probably don't see each other a lot. He probably had to travel and go do his thing, and she probably had to travel and do her thing. He can't be there all the time. So there's not a lot of space for fooling around. You never know the reasons 100% what happens, but you can almost guess and put it there, put the reasons there because it fits. And in this scenario, everything started to fit because the one thing you guys just disqualify is the fact that they're human. They go through the same things. They have to eat, pee, take a dump, just like you and everybody else. These are people who weren't born rich. They were poor, just like you, before they got in their wealth. So they know where they come from, and they're a couple, just like you and your girl. Just that now they have money. Men who cheat that's rich is not exclusive to them. People who poor cheat in relationships. It's just a thing they do. So I hope this answered all your questions. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. It's Carcino. I'm out.